This week on Arizona Illustrated, a U of A student strives to make a difference by helping us accept our differences. Meet the Rosanos, a family for whom creativity is a way of life. A friendship that led to bees in the backyard. Welcome to Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. Every once in a while, when we're out producing a story, we meet an individual who's a story in themselves, a seemingly ordinary person with an extraordinary tale. Someone like Sammy Madden. And no one who spends any time with Sammy can help but see the world in a different light. A light made brighter because of a gift he has for allowing us to appreciate the differences in ourselves and others.
The day that you present, you're turning in a bibliography, right?
Well, the topic hell was actually given to us by a professor. We discovered that there are many depictions of it, for instance in Dante's writings, and also discussed in the New Testament in different places.
Containing the letter to Philip, the Apocalypse of James, and a fragment of
I love studying about different religions and the different cultures that go along with those religions.
It was also not found very far from where
Everything is connected. You know, with history, you have the dates and everything, and then with religion, you also have dates, but you also have a story that goes along with it. And so there's a story behind everything. My name is Samir Anthony Madden. I am 21 years old. I am a history and religious studies student at the University of Arizona. My personal story starts back when I was born in Hyderabad, India. Shortly thereafter, I was given up for adoption, and I went to an orphanage and spent my first 5 years there. I never met them, so I don't know the reason why they really gave me up for adoption, but the answer I've come up with over the years is that they gave me up for a reason, and the reason I think is to give me a second chance because they knew the life I would have if I stayed in India, and they did not want that. And so I was never angry that my parents gave me up. I've been very lucky that they did that, and I've been honored that they did that because they gave me a second chance in life. At the age of 5, I was adopted and came to the U.S., came to Tucson, and grew up here. My parents are Bill and Beth Madden. I don't know where I would be without them. I love my parents very much.
They created this album.
This is a goodbye gift.
And it says, "To dearest Sammy, with love from all at Baby Center."
He kept the keys at the orphanage and knew how to turn off the main circuit breaker by climbing up on a chair and up onto a counter and all the rest of this sort of stuff. That really comes from the fact that he was very much loved long before we ever met him. When you have that kind of love, then you can turn around and love people in return and be comfortable with it. And since the orphanage was a place where people came all the time and he would meet them, then he became comfortable dealing with all different kinds of people from different places.
Okay, let's serve everybody.
I am one of 8 kids. I'm the youngest. My family definitely extends outside my being one of 8 kids. My parents have what they like to call borrowed kids, and they are very much an extended part of our family, and we tend to have people come over on Friday nights. People will see me as being different automatically because I'm missing my arms and I'm missing my legs. In reality, it's each of us is different. We are different in each aspect, whether it's physical or if it's emotional or psychological. We're all different in one way or another. And so for someone to pick on someone else who has a difference is really counterintuitive. When I go and talk to these kids, it's to tell them, we are different and we have to accept each other in that difference.
I've had the pleasure of knowing Sammy now for close to 10 years, and he's done a lot in his short life. So middle school's hard. Yep. It is, isn't it? It's a little hard. He survived it. You
and I survived her, which is even more important.
All right, with that, I'm going to let my bud here talk.
So how much time do we have, just so I get an idea?
Well, that's 4 minutes slow, first of all.
Wait. Don't get tangled. All right. Hi. 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 How's everyone? Good. Are we awake? Yeah. When you first walked in and saw me, what did you guys think? What did you see initially? Yes?
A challenged young man.
What?
A challenged young man.
Challenged young man. That's new. What else? I had teachers in high school say, this has to be hand-drawn. It's like, sure, which hand, It's like, which hand would you like me to draw with? So, I've had that. When I don't have the dog with me, people see me, and a lot of times, they will run in the opposite direction. Little kids will run in the opposite direction, and adults, will walk in the other way to avoid me, and it's because I'm missing arms and legs, and they're not sure how to approach me. And when I give my presentations to students, I talk about my life. I had surgeries, my struggles, my ups and downs in life. In third grade, I was dealing with something called bone overgrowth surgery. What I want students to take away from my presentation is the universal acceptance of each other. In my junior year in high school, there was a student who happened to have a limb difference, who was missing some fingers on both of his hands, and they were picking on him. And he was being bullied at the school. I found out about it, and I talked to the freshman class. I went in and I said, hey, yes, he's missing some fingers, but whoop-de-doo. He can do anything he wants. I can do anything I want, but we also have to accept those differences. And once we do, then the barriers can come down and we can accept each other. And after that, things changed with him and in that freshman class. The most important thing that you have to remember is you have to believe in yourself. If you start with believing in yourself, others will follow. And remember that even through the hard times in your life and the good times, as long as you do everything to the best of your ability, you know who you are and you're proud of it, then nothing can stop you. Emmanuel is missing both his legs and his arms. For Emmanuel and others like him, they see, oh wait, I'm not the only one.
What's the name?
Ashka. And it's trying to tell these kids, it's like, no, you're different. But that's okay. And it's great that you're different because you are contributing.
Well, what kind of legs do you have?
You're missing this arm or you're missing that leg, but look, you're able to do this much. That gives them the confidence to say, okay, I can do anything I want. Pull up and then using my chin. We have to accept each other, and when we do, then the person who's being picked on because they're different is able to focus on their academics. They're able to focus on getting to know other people.
You have a girlfriend?
When they realize that they have everything that they need, then their school gets better, and they start to make friendships. You have to be able to see beyond the physical stuff.
You just try, and if you can't do it, just keep on trying, that's all.
I've ridden a horse, I swim, I've flown an airplane, I've driven my own car, so there's nothing I can't do. As long as I say I can do it, I can. My service dog is Ashka. She's a 6-year-old golden retriever. It's really nice because, I have someone out there who will swim with me, and it's a great bond. In swimming, I can move more freely. We have to take those cards that we are dealt and put them towards good and change people. And so you can't change the card you're dealt. What you can do is you can make a difference.
21-year-old Sammy is the president of ICAN, the International Child Amputee Network, an organization that seeks to help children with limb differences and their families. To learn more, visit the Arizona Illustrated page at azpm.org. You'll also see Sammy and many more stories of champions on the weekend of September 27th as part of American Graduate Day, Saturday morning, starting at 8 on PBS 6, with rebroadcast on the UA channel and World. What do a tuba, keyboards, an accordion, stained glass, and a variety of dolls have in common? They are but a few of the things used by the Rosanos to fill their surroundings and ours with art and music. For brothers Dante, Marco, and Tony, and their father Aurelio, to create is to live.
It's an amazing mix of different styles and influences all just put together. Sometimes we have 2 people and sometimes we have 10. It's just a real spontaneous, fun group to play with.
It's funny because we all grew up playing music, but we didn't really play music together that much until later. And we've all ended up in many, many bands.
The Tucson music scene is a difficult sound to categorize. It's a blend of jazz, rock, indie folk mixed with border influences. And 3 brothers have been working for decades in this evolving musical landscape. Meet the Rosano brothers, Dante, Marco, and Tony. Each has been a consistent part of Tucson's ever-evolving musical persona for most of their lives.
At one time we counted 23 musical instruments in the house.
Aurelio Rosano is the patriarch of the family. He says he was a mediocre musician at best, but it was important for him to give his children opportunities to explore music, art, and the environment.
Here's some of the musical stuff. Tony with a trombone, Dante with a tuba, and where's Marco in here? Is that you?
Yeah, it's me.
They were exposed to it from infancy. Yeah. And we always had musical instruments around, and we also rented 3 musical instruments a month. It didn't matter what it was. It could be a cello, it could be a trumpet, it could be anything. And we'd take it home for them to experiment with.
The freedom to experiment is an important part of life for the elder Rosano. Here, on this isolated piece of land he calls home, are many testaments to his own creativity.
I'm not sure how it's going to go. So part of it's a surprise to me, too. The reason I do artwork is because I can't not. I have to do it. And if I don't do it, I go a little crazy. I just have to create. It's just part of me. And I think some of that has spilled over into my kids. They're just kind of driven to always create things.
Driven to create things is how the Rosanos spent much of their childhood. Music and art were a natural part of life.
I obviously have a lot of stuff. I like to take things apart and put them together in different ways, especially a lot of dolls. Take apart a lot of dolls and put them together, like things that move and light up.
A studio filled with the tangible products of a creative mind. Tony says this studio space is a sanctuary for him, and it's where he's able to express himself completely.
I make things because it's, I don't know what I would do if I didn't.
The need to express himself includes being able to pick up one of the many instruments that can be found lying around.
I played trombone growing up. I also played baritone, mostly low brass instruments, a little bit of piano, keyboards.
Original and imaginative expression is a driving force for all three brothers. This trio has been making music for decades, and each performance is the result of a creativity seed planted long ago.
I find Chamber Lab to be very challenging. Some of the things I've written I thought were really great, and I had some kind of, I was inspired to you know, I already had an idea, and I was inspired to make it work. Other times, some of those things I've written for Chamber Lab is just like pulling teeth, like it's a bit difficult.
We're just hanging out, and Dante's like, well, I could just play the piano and the trumpet at the same time, and like it was like a joke, you know, we were just joking. But then we're just like, no, yeah, we could do that. It was fun. It was challenging. We had to practice a lot.
The Rosano musical projects run the gamut. But for many longtime Tucson residents, the sound of Crawdaddy-O is an important part of the Rosano legacy.
That was pretty quickly successful, and our material was really varied, fairly innovative, kind of quirky.
It's been said that music is the universal language, able to bridge the gap between groups of people and cultures. It's a language that was instilled in the Rosano brothers by a family that values artistic expression. A family tradition that began well before Rosano Sr. surrounded his sons with the tools for making art.
That's from my parents, Italian immigrants, uneducated, but they pushed the arts on me, not as a way to make a living, but it's something to do in life.
Thanks, everyone. We'll be back.
Like what you see on Arizona Illustrated? Visit our webpage at azpm.org to watch and share videos from this episode. You'll also find stories from future programs, an easy way to submit your own story idea, an archive of past episodes of Arizona Illustrated, and you'll find everything you need to stay connected with public broadcasting in Southern Arizona. azpm.org. It is estimated that 1/3 of the food that we consume each day relies on pollination, primarily by bees. And the annual value of the honeybee pollination to U.S. agriculture is estimated to be over $9 billion. Now, while most of this is accomplished through commercial beekeepers, there is a far more personal approach to beekeeping right here in the neighborhoods of Southern Arizona.
Hey guys, how's it going? G'day.
Matt McCullough is originally from Australia, but now lives in Tucson, where he works as a sales manager for a beer distributor. His job takes him to multiple businesses in and around Tucson, where he discusses varieties, brands, and prices by making one-on-one connections with owners and managers.
So we got 3 beers to try today. This is one of my favorites, nice black lager. It's beautiful.
The first wine that we're going to taste today is going to be from Skouras Winery.
Noel Patterson is a Tucson native who has a similar job in southern Arizona, except his employer deals with wines, reds and whites, sweets, or dries. Patterson has been involved in this industry for many years, and he eventually crossed paths with Matt McCullough.
It's keeping you busy, eh? There we go, mate.
The men come from different backgrounds and experiences, but when they started to talk and become friends, they realized they shared some similar values and interests. An affinity for tasty beverages and food, a respect for the environment, and an admiration for a hard-working insect. Honeybees.
I was chatting to him one day about my garden, and he started telling me how he's got into the bee business, and I was like, I should get some bees as well. And he asked me if I was serious about it. I told him I was, and sure enough, a week later I had a whole hive of bees in the backyard, so it's been great.
In addition to his job with wines, Noel Patterson also has a growing hobby raising honeybees. It all began when he started telling others that he wanted to try out this tradition someday. One of those people was paying attention and took the next step.
A girlfriend of mine long ago completely unexpectedly bought me a hive for my birthday and kind of threw me into it.
And you could say he's totally immersed now, either in his unmistakable full bodysuit or a hand that's partly covered from the sticky honey that's been created by his industrious insects in the Sonoran Desert.
This is the whole reason why we're doing this. This is basically just pure virgin honeycomb. So freshly drawn wax. Yeah, this is as good as it gets. Oh, look at that honey dripping out.
Patterson is managing more than 24 apiaries now, which he places on people's properties, including the home of Matthew McCullough. His house is in close proximity to others, but the bees have been good neighbors so far, even with McCullough's 2 young children.
So what you want to do is you want to take a look. There you go.
It's in a secluded area, so the kids don't mess with it because they know that it's not a good idea to grab a stick and hit the bee's nest. It's not a wise thing to do. And yeah, we don't have any problems at all.
It's full of honey.
Wow, look at it.
Wow.
In fact, McCullough says the bees are serving as a valuable agricultural teaching tool for his couple of kids and complementing the family's backyard gardening efforts.
I call myself just like a little urban rancher, you know. I've got a vegetable garden in the backyard. Beautiful. There we go. After that, I decided it'd be fun to have just a couple of chickens. So I got myself a little chicken coop and half a dozen chickens for fresh eggs every day. The bees pollinate all my vegetables and flowers in the garden. And then this is the first harvesting today of some fresh honey. So you get a little honey out of it as well, which is fantastic.
Just like McCullough and his family, the owners of this more spacious property decided to try out some beehives after experimenting with chickens.
Chickens seem to be kind of like the gateway livestock for a lot of people. Once people really do have a garden, chickens, and really start to grow more of their own food, a lot of people see bees as kind of the logical next step. I think it's a lot more intimidating for a lot of people, so somebody has to be a little more dedicated to take it on.
I water the bees every morning. I have 5 bee watering containers. We started little with, I think, just a hive or 2, and Noel taught us about them and kind of demystified them. And my only job is to put water out and keep it full every day because they drink quite a bit. I watch them in the water, and I've actually seen bees assist other bees in getting out of the water. They're fascinating.
What kind of things are you measuring?
You know, the difference in the protein from the original diet. And
Gloria DeGrande Hoffman works at the Carl Hayden Bee Research Center in Tucson, which is part of the United States Department of Agriculture. Scientists are trying to help honeybees by improving their nutrition and reducing dangerous risks such as an external parasite called the varroa mite. However, the bees encounter additional problems.
The actual colony collapse disorder, where the bees leave the colony, although it happens, it doesn't happen as frequently as colonies that are lost from malnutrition or starvation or varroa mites or pesticides or queen loss. So all of these things can reduce the survival of colonies.
But the Grandi Hauptmann says the rising interest in honeybees and their contributions are positive. Along with native insects, imported honeybees are responsible for pollinating billions of dollars worth of food crops every year. She says there are more than 2 million colonies in the U.S.
Beekeepers really know honeybees. They know their colonies, they know bee behavior, they know how to move colonies, reestablish them. You've got to know a lot about bees to stay in business as a beekeeper.
You put your hood on again because?
Because it was time. They realized that we're in there taking their honey. From a management standpoint, there are many things that could go wrong. It's definitely something that you have to have a mentor. It's not something you can learn online or out of books. But for people who want to take it to the next level, I've seen a huge interest. Look at that.
For now, Matt McCullough is content with the present arrangement he has with his friend.
Thanks, mate.
Noel Patterson checks on the hive and its health, and McCullough gets some of the honey harvest in return.
So you're not quite ready on that honey yet.
I can go and do my job every day, which I love to do. Then I can come home and spend half an hour to an hour just relaxing and, you know, hanging out in my backyard with my vegetables or chickens or bees.
Good job, guys. You think that's enough?
I was thinking about a goat, but I was afraid that if the goat gets into the garden, it'll eat all my vegetables. So I'm just going to steer clear of that for a while.
So just from an eating standpoint, from a local food standpoint, this is about the only sweetener that you can produce yourself. You know, Lord knows we can't grow sugar cane in the desert. I also get to spend my time outside in the place that I love. It's a Saturday morning, we're outside playing around with the bees.
Hey mate, how's it going? Good to see you.
And a new work week begins on Monday.
Here we go, mate.
When the men can concentrate on beer and wine again while reminiscing about their bees.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you for joining us on Arizona Illustrated. Next week, we take a look back at our summer and the monsoon from nearly 9,000 feet. A look forward at summers to come, and yes, it's going to get hotter. A place striving to change the culture of care, and the flood of '83 from the vault. I'm Tom McNamara. See you next week.